I can't play the actual Strictly intro for my intro. At least not by itself. I guess I'll just do this. Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Strictly Come Dancing, the unofficial podcast. I still don't know if they're gonna let me get away with that name, but I guess we'll see. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Turtle Boy. You can call me Turtle. I am your host of this podcast, and I am coming at you live from my very super secret recording location, that of course being Dave Arch's basement. Guys, episode 1. Oh my gosh, I have been so giddy all week, ready to record. I've been wanting to do some kind of podcast for the longest time. Probably like about as long as I've wanted to make a YouTube channel, and I'm finally doing it. So excited. So what does this podcast entail? Well, for the first couple of weeks, episodes are going to be released every Saturday, in case you don't know. I am going to be going through Strictly Come Dancing Series 16, also known as the series that took place in 2018. And I'm going to be going week to week, episode to episode, ranking every routine in each episode from my personal worst to best. Now, this is not going to really take into account any kind of judges' scores or anything like that. This is just mainly going to be my opinion on the routines. So the leaderboard that I make and the leaderboard that they make isn't necessarily going to match up. This is just my opinion on the routines in general. But before we get into it, I do have to go over a few important notes. These are what I like to call the Turtle Boy bias. So let me explain that to you. Obviously, everyone has different opinions on these routines, and any routines on Strictly. Not everyone is going to agree on where things go, and that's totally fine. But you should know that I have quite a few biases going into this podcast, into these rankings, and I will go over them for you now. Number 1, my bias for some of the teams. I have extremely strong emotional attachment to what I like to call the final 5 of Strictly 16. That being Lauren Steadman, Faye Tozer, Ashley Roberts, Joe Sugg, and Stacey Dooley. I really love all 5 of them a lot, so I'm going to be very biased to their routines. I'm going to really try and not let this win, but you know, they were the final 5 for a reason. They're all very good. All their routines are very good. So if you see them towards the top of the list often, just know that there is a bit of a reason for it. So sorry if that takes over from time to time. But again, they are all very good. So second, I do have some biases towards types of dances. So my favorite types of dances on Strictly of all time are Charleston, number 1, and Quickstep and Argentine Tango. Those are my 3 favorites. So I'm going to be a bit more biased to those routines in particular, just because I think that they are the most fun, entertaining, enjoyable to watch for me. This is all about like overall viewing experience. So if I had a more enjoyable time watching it, it's going to go up higher. And even though it might not have been as polished, I do like a Charleston more than a waltz, let's just say. And that sounds like a transition to my next point. I am not as big of a fan of the slower dances on Strictly, so that includes a waltz or a Viennese waltz or an American smooth. Really just those 3. Now I can still enjoy these, don't get me wrong. I can appreciate a good waltz when I see a good waltz, but I'm really not a huge fan of the slower dances, so sorry if they're your thing, they're just not mine. And then there is one form of dance on Strictly that I loathe with my whole existence, and that is the contemporary. But we don't see the contemporary until like week 5, I think, not for a while. So I won't get into why I hate the contemporary so much, because there really is no need to yet. But when we get there, trust, you're going to get an earful. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. So let's just get into it, man. Week 1, no eliminations this episode, but the episodes where there are eliminations, pretty much every single one after this point, I will talk about them at the end of each podcast episode. My thoughts, my feelings on the elimination. Let's just get into all of these routines, one from every single team of Series 16, starting with
Dancing the Samba, Susanna Constantine and Anton Dubé.
So yes, this might seem like a cop-out, having the lowest ranked routine by the judges in last, but there are those rare chances when I just agree wholeheartedly with the judges. This did deserve to be in last place. At the top of my notes for this one, I just have, oh, where to begin? Yeah, this dance is kind of a train wreck. I have a few things here that aren't even related to the dancing itself, but I still needed to talk about them. First one being the music. The song that is playing, what is it called? I have the Strictly Wiki open on another tab, my very trustworthy source. Tico Tico is the name. This might be the most annoying song I've ever heard, second only to Dance Monkey. I hate Dance Monkey. I just hate it a lot. Wow, my ears are burning. I hate this song. The color and design of the floor mixed with their outfits hurts my eyes and overstimulates me so much. It's actually absurd. Like, there's too much going on in this routine. There is too much and also nothing happening at the same time. You know? I don't know if that makes sense, but just go with it. Yeah, the pattern on the floor, like, stresses me out and irks me. I know it's just pineapples, but, like, I am wildly uncomfortable. I've never been more uncomfortable by a pineapple in any moment. Moving on to the dancing itself. Susanna feels like she's honestly just stumbling around the dance floor, not really hitting any move or step in the right way. It feels so messy and unfinished, and it feels like she's kind of like rushing at points to, like, she's like struggling to complete the dance. Like, oh, I gotta be here now and here now and here now. Like, she can never get on top of what she's doing. And it honestly feels like she's struggling to keep up or even, like, keep her feet on the floor. It feels like she's, like, forcing herself into this. And also, this has nothing to do with the dancing, but it is still something that drives me insane that I need to bring up. In this routine, the lovely Mr. Anton Dubé, at the start, he has a pair of maracas. And at one point, the maraca, like, ball part, the part that has whatever makes the shaking noise inside of it. What are those, like beans? Grains of rice? I don't know. Inside that part of the maraca, the top part, they pop off of the stick, like the part you hold. And they're just, one of them I think rolls off of the floor, but one of them stays right dead in the center of the floor. And even though I've seen this routine several times, when I tell you, I get stressed even still that someone's gonna step on that maraca and trip on it and fall. It's the only thing I can focus on every time I watch it. It's just like, please don't step on that maraca. Please do not step on that maraca. It will turn into even more of a disaster if you step on that maraca. In terms of positives, the spin onto the floor at the very end, where she hits her little ending pose, I did like that. I always do like when the celebrity specifically is spun by the pro onto the floor, and then if they either get back into hold or hit a pose on the floor, it's always very visually pleasing, very nice. And might as well talk about the elephant in the room. The thing with the big dress, it was goofy. It was silly. It was probably the only time in the whole routine that I felt any kind of real joy or smiled or didn't feel like sweating because of how stressed out I was. So that's good. That is all in terms of positive, though, I do have to say. Craig giving this a 1, I do understand. Did I say Craig? Craig, I meant to say. Craig giving this a 1 is definitely understandable. 4 from Darcy. I struggle to say Darcy's name because when I was watching this the first time, I swear I thought her name was Badussy. I don't know why. I heard Badissi the first time, so that's what I just called her for the whole time, so I always struggle to remember her name. Darcy giving it a 4, Shirley giving it a 3, Bruno giving it a 4. Very low score of 12, but honestly, I would have been okay if it were lower. Let's move on.
Dancing the Waltz, Katie Piper and Gorka Marquez.
Katie and Gorka. Okay, so Katie's routines, this is just kind of a general thing, but all of her routines feel kind of awkward in a way that I can't really explain. Like, I don't want to be too mean, obviously, and no hard feelings to anyone I talk about on this, if I ever make any, kind of negative comments towards the routine. I think all these people, for the most part, are lovely and fabulous, and I wish them nothing but the best. But Katie's routines really feel like she forgot the part where she was supposed to dance, and she kind of just walks around with Gorka. And this is especially true for week 2, but we'll wait to get into it till next week. I did notice a few times where she kind of stuttered. I don't really know how to describe it, but like her feet kind of hesitated. I don't know. I feel so weird saying that, but like the only way I can describe it is her feet stuttered on the floor. Like they shuffled for a minute into the move. Other than that, though, I felt that the waltz was, like, fine. I mean, this is week 1. I'm not expecting anything absolutely incredible. So I thought that it was a perfectly fine waltz. There was just nothing really super special about it, to be honest. It was kind of bland, kind of boring. But that also might just be coming from my opinion on the waltz as a whole. What did the judges give this one? Let's take a look. There were quite a few waltzes this episode, and a few cha-cha-chas. Oh my gosh. Get ready to hear a lot of cha-cha-cha. There were quite a few. This got 3 4s from Craig, Darcy, Shirley, and a 5 from Bruno. Love that, Bruno. I think that's fair. Perfectly average, perfectly fine. Again, it is week 1, so nothing incredible, and that's to be expected, but, it could have been better. That's all my notes about that one, so let's move on to
Dancing the Waltz, Lee Ryan and Nadia Bishkova.
Back-to-back damn waltzes, and there is more to come, don't you worry. Lee and Nadia's waltz. My top note is just, my god, this guy looks so much like Ollie White. And if you don't know who Ollie White is, he's a YouTuber from back in the day, UK YouTuber. Name is Ollie White, he's the best of the land, etc. I said that they had a very nice spin around the floor together. I thought it was pretty good for week 1, but also I really felt like Nadia outshines him in this routine. Outside of a few moments like near the ending, it really does feel like he's just holding her hand metaphorically and sometimes physically while she does all the like shiny cool stuff, and he's more there to just make sure she doesn't fall over, which isn't the point. Lee is supposed to be doing all the impressive stuff. Of course, Nadia's impressive. She's the pro, but he's the one that's supposed to be, like, blowing us all away with an awesome routine. Also, their fleck roll, I'm going to learn how to say this word correctly eventually. I don't even know if it's right. Their fleck roll was not great, but it did transition very nicely into the other spin they did where I believe he holds onto her waist and spins her around. But the fleck roll into that, not fantastic, but their second spin was pretty good. Let's see what this one got. Which waltz is this? Okay. A 4 from Craig, and then a 6 from the rest of the judges. I suppose I can understand the 4 to some extent. I would probably go right in between with a 5, personally, because it was kind of boring, but they did have some nice elements in there. That is all for this one. So, up next,
Dancing the Tango, Sean Walsh and Katya Jones.
Bringin' Sexy Back Tango. So, the main thing I noticed about this one is there was a really big lack of time in, like, a natural tango pose or a tango hold, which made this a very unique tango. And I wrote down that it's not a good or a bad thing, just an observation. But honestly, I feel like it is kind of a negative, in my opinion. Like, of course, all about breaking the norm, doing something different with the type of routine you're doing, but not to the point where the routine is kind of unrecognizable. like the type of routine you're doing, I shouldn't have to question like, oh, what one is this? Unless it's between waltz and Viennese waltz, because I can never tell the difference for anyone. That's just lack of knowledge on my part, though. Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about this one. It's perfectly fine. I like the song. I do like, they have a few like kind of cheeky fun moments when they're in hold. There's a moment towards the end where they're back to back with each other with their arms outstretched and they're like circling around one another. I thought it was a fun like bodyguard protector kind of vibe. But that's really honestly all there is to say about this tango. This was given a 3 by Craig, a 5 by Darcy, a 4 by Shirley, and a 6 by Bruno. I could see Shirley having issues with their hold, that's for sure. I know Shirley, which is sometimes an unfortunate thing. And yeah, that hold would definitely upset Miss Shirley. But perfectly fine tango. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I really do like the song. And I always do like at the start of routines when they have like a little moment where they talk with one another or just talk to the camera. I always think that makes it a little bit more like fun and like more human, more natural. So yeah, that's all my thoughts on this tango. Next up,
Dancing the Jump, Vic Hope and Graziano Di Prima.
Mr. Graciano's first ever dance on Strictly. All right. The first thing I have written down is just, God, I am sick of this song. This was the song that got played on repeat in my mom's car over the summer of whatever summer it released. I've heard this song about 1 million times, and when I tell you, I still can't understand 90% of the words. I just also wrote that they're little solo moments where there is a moment in the routine where they kind of stop dancing entirely and like slowly walk forward, and Graciano blows Vic a little kiss, and then they go right into the vibe. I thought that was a really nice transition from like a casual moment right back into the routine. Honestly, Vic's outfit as well as the overall vibe of this routine isn't really giving jive to me. It's honestly giving more like samba. But there are some very classic like jive movements in there, so you can still tell it's a jive, but I would say it's like kind of going right up to the edge. Again, that could just be my lack of knowledge, though. That could vary from person to person. I don't have a ton written down for this one. I thought it was perfectly fine. Okay, cool. Let's move on.
Dancing the Foxtrot, Danny John Jules and Amy Dowden.
Danny and Amy's Foxtrot. Yes, mister, I'm going to open the series with my pink suit and my ballet moves. Okay, Danny. I thought that the showmanship themes really shone through very well. Danny is obviously star of screen and stage Danny John Jules and his partner Amy Dowden. I think that was their little introduction each episode, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, the showmanship shone through excellently. Very clear, very elegant, very pristine. The little like ballet jump he does at the end will always make me giggle, just because I think it's so funny that they're like, all right, foxtrot hold, I'm gonna do a ballet jump. And I'm just like, what is this man doing and why do I love it? Like, it's so perfect. It's great. It would not be the same routine without that little jump, and you can quote me on that. He does slip a little bit towards the end, and that kind of throws off getting back into hold with Amy, but it's literally just when he's like running a little, so I don't even know if that is against him because he's just walking. And also his hold is just a little bit stiff, but I really do like the vibe of this routine. I think it's fabulous. I think it's great. 6 from Craig, 7 from the rest of the judges. I think that is a perfectly fair score because of that like a little slip at the end and a bit of stiffness, but excellent way to open the series and your time on Strictly Mr. John Jules. All right, next up.
Dancing the Viennese Waltz, Ashley Roberts and Pasha Koval.
Ashley and Pasha, Team Pashley. Welcome in. They had a Viennese Waltz for their opening. My top note is just Ed Sheeran. I already dock points, which is half joking, half partly serious. They had some fantastic transitions between spin to hold. Thought it was fantastic. Ashley is always so elegant and graceful in her ballroom. Very, very lovely to see, always, and this is no exception. There was a bit of a hesitation when she has a dip where she kind of leans backwards into Pasha's arms, and there was a bit of a hesitation in it. But when I tell you only a tiny little microscopic hesitation, there was some fantastic fleck rolls. I still don't know if I'm saying that word right, but I think it's fleck rolls. For week one, Shirley has said multiple times, fleck rolls, blah, blah, blah. Week one are very hard to do, and I thought that Ashley did fantastic. It's good, but it is slow, but that's the Viennese waltz for you. This got a 7 from Craig, from Shirley, from Bruno, 8 from Darcy, from Darcy. Sorry, Darcy. And I think that's fair scoring for the most part. Very pretty set, very pretty outfits, just very, very pretty and nice overall. That's really all I gotta say about it. Okay, next up.
Dancing the Cha-Cha-Cha, Kate Silverton and Ayash Storianis.
My top note is just, yes, queen, get it. Kate and Alyash's Cha-Cha. I love this routine. I think it is so fun and lovely. And something that you'll notice as a bit of a theme, well, I guess you won't, well, just for the rest of this episode, really, but I love in week one when they use props or themes or settings that are connected to the celebs' professions. Like, obviously, Kate is a news anchor, so they put her at the start at a news desk. They had Alyash slide in with that camera, so I thought it was excellent. I do think it needed some more fluidity at the start, but it did get better as it went. And by fluidity, I just mean in her lower body movements, like in her hips. I feel like there needed to be a little bit more flow from section to section. But I thought it got better even from the beginning of the routine to the end. So yeah, very nice cha-cha-cha, and definitely not our last. Getting a 4 from Craig and from Shirley, SMH my head. I don't think that deserved a 4. Maybe a 5 I could understand, but a 4? Nuh-uh. Darcy coming in with a 6 and Bruno coming in with a 6. Can always count on them to give a routine the score it so rightfully deserves, for the most part. I think a 6 is a good score for this one. I thought it was cheeky. I thought it was fun. Just needed a little bit more of that fluidity in the hip motions, but other than that, I thought it was pretty good. That's all for that one, so let's move on to...
Stepping up next is Graham Swan and his partner Oti Mabuse. It's time to knock them for 6 with this samba.
Oh my gosh, the first routine struck by the Fortnite dance curse. But you know what? I don't even care because I really, really like this samba. When I first watched Graham and Odie's samba, I just said to myself, this guy is putting his whole heart and soul into this routine. And you know what? I stand by it because Graham is giving everything that needed to be given for this routine, and I love it. He's so energetic. You can tell he's just having the time of his life out there, swinging his hips around. Like, I'm not even mad about the flossing. I actually think it's kind of cute because he said at the start that I think he learned it from his kids. It's like his signature little move, so I thought it was nice to throw that in as a little homage to him saying that the flossing was something he learned from his kids and that they were so happy that he was on the show and he wanted to do it for them. So I thought it was overall pretty sweet. His offhand was a little stiff at times when he was switching from side to side in hold with Odie. And his hold was also a little too wide at one point toward the end, but I'm talking like at one point. Other than that, I thought his hold was pretty good, and I loved the ending. I loved that he jumped over Odie and then did that little ending pose, pointing at the camera like, yeah, that one's for all of you guys. I just did that. And I also really like the start, coming down from that cricket stick, hitting the little, what is it called? What are those things in the yard that go like, what are those called? Why am I forgetting? Anyway, that thing, you know what I'm talking about, I hope, or else I just sound insane. But yeah, Graham and Odie's samba is definitely a fun one. And definitely the better samba of this episode. Getting a 5 from Craig, I can understand, but from Bruno, what are you doing, man? Come on, I just praised you earlier for giving a good score before. What the heck? Darcy and Shirley giving a 6, that I can get on board with. I definitely think a 6 is fitting. Moving on to yet another cha-cha-cha.
Dancing the cha-cha-cha, Dr. Ranj Singh and Jeanette Munrara.
Oh, Team Pocket Rocket, you are a joy. I'm literally smiling the whole time I'm watching this routine. I really, really enjoy it. This cha-cha gives off such infectious joy. Oh my goodness. And you know that's true when even at the end, Craig is smiling, even if it wasn't the best routine. If he's still smiling, then you know that there was something in that giving him just absolute joy. And I love the tie-in to the profession in the outfit, the props, and the song. Fantastic. This is definitely my favorite dance from Dr. Ranj. It was absolutely fantastic, super fun, super energetic. I loved the movements. I loved their time together. His jump down from the table right back into the vibe of the song was fantastic. And then I just wrote down again, Pocket Rocket, you are such a joy. Jeanette and Ranj, you keep giving us joy every single routine, and I love it. Keep it up, please. I mean, I know you do, but still, keep it up. A 6 from Craig, from Darcy, an 8 from Shirley, and a 7 from Bruno. An 8 from Shirley. I'm surprised by that. But you know what? I'm here for it, because joy like that should be rewarded. Giving us joy like that should be rewarded. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Next up is
Dancing the Quick Step, Stacey Dooley and Kevin Clifton.
Queen Stacey Dooley is in the damn building and proves that you can do quick step week 1 if you are just that girl. For those who might not know, this was the first time anyone was ever given a quick step week 1 of Strictly. It had never been done before prior to this series, and they gave it to Stacey first off, and I think she just proved herself right away to be a fierce competitor by doing a really good job on this first quick step. You can tell that in some of Stacey's early routines, she feels kind of like a little shy, a little awkward in the way that she smiles. You can tell that she's just like, oh gosh, okay, I'm doing this, okay then. But she really knows how to put on a show. She has a fantastic personality on stage, no matter what the routine is, and you can really see it shine through in her more upbeat routines and the more fun ones where she's moving around a lot quicker. And her solo moments in the middle were my favorite part. I thought it was adorable, and it was so fun and just really, really cute. I really, really enjoyed that part. Is it a perfect quick step? No, but for week 1, oh my goodness, the talent she was already showing is insane. A 6 from Darcy, Shirley, and Bruno, I think is fine. 4 from Craig. Craig, come on, man. You're just trying to be different at this point. That was a good quick step. I mean, obviously, week 1, it's not going to be perfect, but, you know, there's a reason that it wasn't given for so long for week 1. It's because it's so difficult. And I think this proves that with enough determination, you can do quick step week 1, and you can actually do pretty good. So, good job, Stacey. Moving on to the next routine in the lineup, we got
Dancing the Cha-Cha-Cha, Charles Venn and Karen Clifton.
That's right, another cha-cha-cha, this time from Charles and Karen. My top note is just, let's go, in all caps. I love their little slow motion movements at the start. Outside of that, that's really the only moment where this routine is kind of slow, because this whole thing is so fun and so upbeat. There's a moment towards the end when both Charles and Karen are walking up to the top of the stage, and Charles's movements, oh my gosh, even his walk for the cha-cha is top notch. Week 1, it's amazing. This has always been one of my faves for Charles. I think it's really, really good. 6, 6, 6, and 7. Heck yeah, Bruno coming in with that 7. I agree. This is definitely worth a 7. All right. Moving on to a slow dance. What? In the top 5? Oh my goodness.
Dancing the Waltz, Lauren Steadman and AJ Pritchard.
Lauren and AJ, or as I like to call them, Team LayJ. Not a ship name, just a team name. I love LayJ. And I just want everyone to remember that everyone else had 2 weeks to learn their first routine of the series, and Lauren only had a couple of days because she was out slaying and winning gold. Lauren is definitely a ballroom girl. She always nails her ballroom routines. I think they're always so magical and just captivating to watch. She really does do such a good job. The story at the start with the balcony and at the end, start and the end, really do feel like Romeo and Juliet. Bruno stole my line, what the heck. And when she spins off of AJ's arm around in a circle with her legs outstretched, I think that part is really, really great. They just nailed this, and they had even less time than everyone else, and I think she did better than a lot of the other teams, which really just shows what a great dancer and competitor Lauren was gonna be. This was another waltz. Oh my goodness. A 6, 6, 6, and 7. Once again, Bruno coming in with that 7. Can always count on him. And honestly, I agree. This is definitely a 7. Fantastic, beautiful, elegant, fabulous. I love you, Lay. You are so fantastic. All right, we're nearly done. Second to first, aka second place. I don't know why I said second to first. Second place in my week 1 ranking is
Dancing the Cha-Cha-Cha, Faye Tozer and Giovanni Panici.
Just want to say that I immediately like any routine that starts on the judges' table. I think any integration of the judges and the judges' table in a routine is really, really fun and kind of poking fun at the judges, which I think is really cool, especially in this routine, because Miss Faye Tozer, the one and only, and I will be addressing her by full name every single time she's brought up, Miss Faye Tozer always wanted to be on Strictly. She's talked about wanting to do it for years, and she is such a veteran of the UK music industry, and now here she is on the judges' table, almost like a throne, ready to come down and take her rightful place on the dance floor. I thought it was just great. Her movements are so amazing to watch. They're almost like hypnotizing, the way she moves her arms in this routine, and then the way it flows into her hips and into her legs. Oh my god, she is such a joy to watch, and she is always so elegant, even when she's doing a damn cha-cha-cha. And this is the last cha-cha of this podcast episode, I promise. I know there were a lot of them. And the callback to her steps, routines, like the movements she did in the music videos and at concerts. I did watch all the music videos. I got a little carried away, but I recognized them all. I thought that it fit perfectly where they were in the routine. They were on beat. They were fabulous. It didn't feel out of place. It's just so fun, and it honestly gives me butterflies. I love watching this routine. She is just so talented. And I also really like her outfit. I know that has nothing to do with the score and the routine itself, but I really liked her outfit. I thought it looked very, very nice. This wrapped up the episode. A 7 from Craig, a 7 from Shirley, a 7 from Bruno, and an 8 from Darcy. Heck yes. I think that those are really, really good scores for this and fit it perfectly. All right. And number 1.
Dancing the Jump, Joe Sugg and Diane Buswell.
I really didn't want my bias to win, but look at that. It did. Is anyone surprised? Probably not. If you don't know, somehow, I love Joe and Diane. I love Joanne so much. They're my favorite team in all of Strictly. They're the reason I even watched the show. So I'm very, very, very biased to them. And I love this routine so very much. Once again, the theming, even though it wasn't perfect, it does kind of feel like a person who did not grow up with modern day internet making a joke about modern day internet, but I thought it was kind of cute, and they tried. So, you know what? The effort's there. I can see it. I think this routine shows off Joe and Diane's dynamic perfectly. They've mentioned time and time again that they have such a similar sense of humor, and they're just laughing and having a great time in rehearsals. And I think this just shows that really, really well. I think they're great in hold. I think Joe is just as great out of hold. They have so many great moments both in and out of hold in this routine. I cannot get over how well this routine shows off their pairing. I wrote it down twice. Like, I just think it's fabulous. Also, when they're up on the stage and they have their little break and they're doing the little movements with their arms, where, like, one has their arm raised in the back, one has their arm raised on the front on the opposite side. I can never tell if there is an error made there, and I still don't know, but I just wanted to point that out. Once again, I don't even care about the Fortnite. I don't even care. You know what? It's kind of fun. I kind of like it. And the ending is so cute. Their little claps back and forth, and then the slide under her legs. Oh my god. The energy, stamina. Yes. Yes, this was such a good omen of great things to come. I love this routine so very much. A 6 from Craig and a 7 from the rest of the judges. I actually think that's fair. I would have given it an 8 probably if Faye and Giovanni's got at least 1 8. I think this one deserves 1 as well. Just saying. That is our last routine. Top of the leaderboard this episode, tied for first, Faye and Gio, and Ashley and Pasha, which, damn. All right, good for Ashley and Pasha, good for Faye and Giovanni. You're going to see them topping the leaderboard. You're going to see that theme continue. And bottom of the leaderboard is Susanna and Anton, because they danced to the most annoying song in the world. Jokes. Well, kind of. And no elimination this episode. So everyone's going on to week 2. Which means that wraps up this first episode of the Strictly Come Dancing unofficial podcast. I hope... Oh, whoops. I clicked my headphone case closed. Sorry if you heard that. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I will be back next Saturday to look at the routines of week 2. I am so excited. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments about this week's routines. And I suppose that's all. So... I can't say keep dancing because that slogan is already taken, so I will instead say continue schmooving and grooving, my lovely people. I'll see you all next week.